Good morning, friends. In the previous lecture, we saw the animal cells and the plant cell, the different organelles. You saw the diagrams, the cell size, the cells in the human body. Yes, you must have gone through the video and seen the general characteristics of a plant cell and animal cell. But the cells have got different shapes and sizes based on the function it is supposed to do. But in every cell, there is some basic characteristics. The components of the cell, which we saw yesterday, is the plasma membrane, also called the cell membrane, which is there in the plant and animal cell both. A cell wall, which is present only in the plant cell. The nucleus is present in both the cells, and we have got cytoplasm, the jelly-like substance, which is shown in the light blue color, which is between the plasma membrane and the cytoplasm. So yesterday we did the plasma membrane, the characteristics, the functions of the plasma membrane. We also understood the cell wall, which is made up of cellulose, right? And the plasma membrane we saw is a living membrane. It controls the exit and entry of materials in and out of the cell. It is a selectively permeable membrane. While the cell wall, which gives rigidity to the plant cell, is a fully permeable membrane, and it allows all the materials to enter and leave the cell. Today, we are going to do the next component, that is nucleus. So we are going to understand what the nucleus is, then we'll go through the cytoplasm and the organelles in the cytoplasm. A few of them we will do today. The remaining we'll see in the next lecture. So the nucleus. The nucleus is inside the cell. We saw the dark brown portion in the cell is called the nucleus. So chromosomes contain information. So what is the nucleus about? The nucleus is like the brain of the cell. It contains the genetic information which the parents will pass on to the offspring. It is in the form of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. So in the nucleus, we call it the brain of the cell. It controls all the other organelles in the cell because the nucleus carries the genetic information. So whenever a cell divides, the cell will do the function, the shape, the size, the function of the cell will depend on the information stored inside the nucleus. So the different parts of the nucleus are nucleolus, but first we start with the border. The nucleus has a double layered membrane called the nuclear membrane. So where is the nuclear membrane surrounding the nucleus? Where is the nucleus? Inside the cell. So this nuclear membrane separates the cytoplasm from the nucleus. Now as you can see, the nuclear membrane has got pores, some openings. Can you see these pores? These are the pores, so openings, which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to the outside into the cytoplasm. Now why there should be an opening? Because even the nucleus is doing the metabolic activities, it needs energy. So materials of energy the nucleus will need. Now what does the nucleus contain? It contains chromosomes, which we'll see in the future lectures. The chromosomes are visible as rod shaped, but in this figure you cannot see the chromosomes. Why? The chromosomes are rod shaped, but the rod shaped structures develop only when the cell is about to divide. So when the cell reaches the time of cell division, then the chromosomes are formed. But till then, where are the chromosomes? So when the cell is not dividing, the DNA is present not as a chromosome but as a chromatin material. So you can see this red line structure, this red lines, just like a thread inside, that is chromatin. So chromatin is a very long thread. It is the DNA, but it is in the shape of a very long thread. Yes, it's like a thread, a very long thread. It's a entangled mass. So it remains like this state only till the cell is going to divide. During the time of cell division, this long thread breaks up into different segments based on the genes inside. At that time we call it chromosomes. So in general stage, the DNA is called chromatin. You can see this long thread-like structure, and when the cell is about to divide, then this structure turns into small rod-shaped structures called chromosomes. So it is written here in the last line, when the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material gets organized into chromosomes. Why this happens will also be seen in the future lectures. So again, this is a general structure of the nucleus, a double membrane. Yes, then the chromatin material which contains the DNA, the genes. Just like the cell has a jelly-like structure inside the cell called the cytoplasm, the nucleus also has a jelly-like structure which is called the nucleoplasm. Now, what is the function of the nucleus? So, the first is the nucleus is the brain of the cell. It controls all the metabolic activities of the cell and it regulates the cell cycle. So the cell that is born by cell division, it grows and then again it divides further. It helps in the transmission of hereditary characters from the parents to offspring. So the nucleus plays a central role in cellular reproduction, the process by which a single cell divides and forms two new cells. It also plays a crucial part along with the environment in determining the way the cell will develop and what it will exhibit at maturity by directing the chemical activities of the cell. Meaning to say, the nucleus of the cell has got all the genetic information. So, when the cell divides, the information in the nucleus will tell the cell what the size, what the function, what the location of the cell will be. So all this information is stored in the nucleus. Now, based on nucleus, there are two types of cell, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. That is the classification of cells. Why this classification is done? It is done because not all the cells have a well-developed nucleus. Some cells, instead of a nucleus, have got a nucleoid. Nucleoid means a structure inside the cell without any membrane. So, in some organisms like bacteria, the nuclear region of the cell may be poorly defined, means without any clear boundary, due to the absence of a nuclear membrane. So, you can see this is a nucleoid. Such an undefined region containing only nucleic acids is called a nucleoid. So it contains only the nucleic acid. Means the DNA or the RNA, there is no nucleolus. In the previous slide you can see there was a blue structure called a nucleolus. Here it is not there. So organisms which lack a nuclear membrane are called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive or primary and karyote means nucleus. So primitive nucleus or an underdeveloped nucleus, those organisms are called prokaryotes. And those which have a well-developed nucleus with a nuclear membrane are called eukaryotes. So all the cells we normally saw was eukaryotes. Here we have a prokaryotic cell with a cell wall, the outer boundary, the plasma membrane. There are few ribosomes and other organelles are there, and a nucleoid means the nucleus is not well developed. So such a cell is called a prokaryotic cell, which was different from the cells we saw previously. So we have listed the main differences between a prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell. This is very minute in size. Eukaryotic cell is fairly large in size. The nuclear region, now called a nucleoid, is not surrounded by a nuclear membrane. Here the nuclear material is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. Here there is a single chromosome present, just one rod-like structure chromosome. Here we have the chromatin material. Remember the red thread-like structure called the chromatin material, which during cell division becomes the chromosomes. In the prokaryotic cell, the nucleolus is absent. In the eukaryotic cell, the nucleolus is present. This has got no membrane-bound organelles. The prokaryotic cell do not have membrane-bound organelles, while eukaryotic cell, the membrane-bound organelles are present. What are the organelles? We are going to see shortly in a few slides. And the cell division occurs by fission or budding. Fission means breakup of one cell into two different cells. Here, mitosis is breaking of the cell by dividing the nucleus. And meiosis is a different process in which the DNA strands open, make its own copy, and then the nucleus is transferred into two different cells. So in fission, budding and mitosis, the genetic information is mostly same in both the cells. But in meiosis, the genetic information may change because the information is divided. So these are the major differences between prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Again, what are prokaryotic cells? The cells which do not have a well-developed nucleus are called prokaryotic cells. They are primitive in nature. While the cells with a well-developed nucleus are called eukaryotic cells. So here the cells are classified based on the nucleus. So here finished two parts, the outer covering called the plasma membrane and the inner genetic material called the nucleus. Now between the nucleus, you can see I've shown the diagram again. This is the nucleus and this is the plasma membrane. So between the nucleus and the plasma membrane, there is a jelly-like substance called the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the plasma membrane. And you can see the small red-like dot-like structures, and here your green-like structures. They are the specialized cell organelles. Now each of these organelles perform a specific function for the cell. Now when you observe the cell under a microscope, all you can see, okay, now there's an activity mentioned earlier. In a cell, all the material is transparent. So the material in the cell is usually colorless. So we put an iodine stain or safranin which colors the material inside the cell. So in a microscope you can only see the nucleus as a dark spot and a membrane outside. So we can see the cytoplasm, but to see these organelles you need a very powerful microscope like the electron microscope. So today, since the technology is developed and after the electron microscopes were found, these organelles were studied in great detail. Now all these organelles are enclosed by membranes. Okay? But in prokaryotes, the membrane-bound cells organelles are absent. Prokaryotes do not have them. These membrane-bound organelles are only found in eukaryotic cells, which also have a nuclear membrane. So now we are going to study these organelles in detail. So first let us see which are the organelles. This picture you have seen before. So the cell organelles, now in this picture you can see these organelles inside the cell. This can only be seen with the help of an electron microscope. So we have the endoplasmic reticulum, then there are ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, mitochondria, plastids, vacuoles and centrioles. Yes? Now plastids are of different types and mostly the plant cell has it. You can see the chloroplast in the plant cell. And the lysosomes are mostly present in the animal cell. Vacuoles are there in plant cell. In animal cell they are not there, and even if they are very small. Now all these organelles have a double membrane, means a covering outside a double membrane. Now what is the significance of membranes? Viruses do not have membranes. So because they do not have membranes, they do not show characteristics of life. They will enter a living body, alter their nucleus and use its cell machinery to multiply. So if you look at a virus is called a connecting link between living and non-living. The virus can remain dormant for a very, very long time. It is non-living. It contains only an RNA, ribonucleic acid. What is RNA? RNA is only the material, genetic material. So the virus has only got genetic material without any cell components. There are no cell organelles. It's only a RNA. It's only a code, only genetic information. Now when this virus enters a living cell, the virus will enter the nucleus and change its DNA to a virus now. So the cell itself becomes a virus. So virus is not a living cell. It doesn't have a membrane. It is only genetic information. This virus will enter a living cell, copy its code to the cell, and now the cell turns into a virus. So remember, all these organelles have double membrane and they all perform different functions. They are all living. So the cell is living and the organelles in the cells are also living and they have to perform certain important functions. So now we are going to study the cell organelles in detail. A few we will do today, the rest we'll do in the next lecture. So the first organelle we do today is endoplasmic reticulum. In the picture you can see it is a tube-like structure. Okay, so the endoplasmic reticulum is a large network of membrane-bound tubes and sheaths. So can you see it's hollow in between like a tube? So it has got long tubules or round or oblong bags called vesicles. The vesicles, right? So these round dots you can see are the vesicles. Now the membrane of the endoplasmic reticulum is similar to the structure of the plasma membrane. What did you see in the plasma membrane? It was made up of lipids and proteins. So this endoplasmic reticulum has got long tubules and vesicles. Now there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum: rough endoplasmic reticulum RER and smooth endoplasmic reticulum SER. Okay, now why does it look rough? Actually it is not rough, but we say rough because under a microscope you see it has particles called ribosomes attached to the surface. In this picture if you can see these dots, these black dots, or I will draw a few dots. When some ribosomes are attached to the surface, then they appear rough. So rough endoplasmic reticulum has got dot-like structures called ribosomes attached to the surface. So endoplasmic reticulum is one cell component and ribosome is the other one. So ribosomes are found in the cell in two ways. Either they are free in the cytoplasm, means you can find them anywhere, or they are attached to the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. So ribosomes are of two types, free and attached. They can be anywhere free in the cytoplasm or they are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. But wherever ribosomes are, what is their main function? They are the sites of protein manufacture. Ribosomes manufacture protein. Now the manufactured proteins are sent to various places in the cell depending on the need using the endoplasmic reticulum. So the ribosomes are manufacturing the proteins, but the proteins manufactured by the ribosomes have to be sent to various places inside the cell. Okay, so that who does? The endoplasmic reticulum, the tube-like structure, carry materials inside the cell. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum also helps in the manufacture of fat molecules or lipids important for cell function. So ribosomes manufacture proteins while the smooth endoplasmic reticulum manufacture fat molecules, lipids for the cell function. And what this endoplasmic reticulum makes with the ribosomes, the proteins and lipids, they help in what? Building the cell membrane. This process is known as membrane biogenesis, means making the membrane through lipids and proteins. So the lipids, the endoplasmic reticulum manufactures, and the proteins, the ribosome manufactures. Some proteins and lipids function as enzymes and hormones. What are enzymes? Digestive chemicals. And hormones are small chemicals in small amount that respond to some kind of stimuli. Yes, like growth and everything. Now the endoplasmic reticulum will be different in different types of cell, but the basic idea is forms a network structures. If you can see this tube, these tubes are also internally connected. Yes, the tubes are internally connected, means the material can move inside the cell and move from one place to another. The tubes are connected for the materials to move. So endoplasmic reticulum helps the material move inside the cell, and if they touch the plasma membrane, it also helps the material to move from one cell to another. So we'll see the small basic differences between the smooth ER and the rough ER. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is made of tubules mainly. You can see there are tubes. It helps in the steroid, lipids and polysaccharide synthesis, means it produces this. In the smooth ER, ribosomes are absent and it helps in membrane biogenesis, means making the plasma membrane. The rough ER is made up of cisternae and vesicles. So vesicles are this dot and cisternae are the smaller tubes. Cisternae. So rough ER has got cistern and vesicles because of the ribosomes, and ribosomes help in protein synthesis, and it is rough because it contains ribosome on its surface. So again, endoplasmic reticulum is a tube-like structure. Smooth will mainly do the function of transportation, and rough will do protein synthesis. Yes, so this was endoplasmic reticulum. If the need arises, you can go back to our previous slides and see the plants and animal cell and see the tube of endoplasmic reticulum, how it spreads almost everywhere in the cell, because the tubes are mainly for transport purpose. Now we see the functions of the endoplasmic reticulum. It is the organelle which can move within the cell. So the main function, like I told you, is the channel for the transport. So there are different organelles in the cell which produce different kind of things, energy and lipids and proteins. So endoplasmic reticulum is the transport system. So it exchanges material within the cytoplasm, between all the cell organelles, and even between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. It also forms the endoskeleton of the cell. It is a tube almost in the whole part of the cell. So it forms an endoskeleton, like a skeleton giving a shape to the cell. Okay, and it also provides the cytoplasmic framework for biochemical activities. Then we did this one. It helps in synthesis of fats, steroids and cholesterol. And one very important function is the detoxification of drugs and poisonous byproducts. So when the cell is using something, some waste will be produced. And if this waste gets accumulated in the body, it can eventually turn into poison. So those chemicals have to be broken down, or those substances have to be broken down. They have to be detoxified, means the toxic effect has to be killed. And smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a crucial role in this detoxification. So whatever stays in the body, the waste, will toxify the body. So it has to be broken down and made harmless. That detoxification is done by the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So these are the main functions you have to write for the functions of the endoplasmic reticulum. Now the next component we see is Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus. Okay, the Golgi apparatus, in the picture it looks almost like the endoplasmic reticulum, but it is not. Endoplasmic reticulum are bigger tubes. Golgi apparatus is like stacks. Yes, tubes put one over the other called stacks. They are cisternae, and they have got large and some spherical vacuoles. So Golgi bodies have vacuoles. Okay, so from this stack sometimes this vesicles separate. They are outgoing vesicles. So incoming vesicles bring material inside the Golgi apparatus. The apparatus use it. It produces what it has to produce, and that is carried out by the outgoing vesicles. So vesicles are bringing in things and taking out things. So vesicles which are coming in may get incorporated into the Golgi apparatus, and after the function is done, the Golgi apparatus produces new vesicles to carry the materials out. So Golgi apparatus is a membrane bound vesicle. Consists of membrane bound vesicles. Yes, vesicles are round dots or flat tubes, and they are arranged parallel on each other in stacks. Now it is called Golgi apparatus because it was discovered by Camillo Golgi. In plants, Golgi membrane is bounded. It is single membrane bounded. So in plants, it is having a single membrane. It is absent in prokaryotes, mammalian red blood cells, and sieve cells of the phloem. This is the Golgi apparatus. Okay, so you can see the shape. It is stacks. Long tubes and vesicles are stacked one over the other, parallel stacks, and it is absent in the prokaryotes. What are prokaryotes? Cells with underdeveloped nucleus, having only the nucleus. So what is the functions the Golgi apparatus does? Why it is important to the cell? The first thing, the formation of lipids, the fats. So Golgi apparatus is a stack-like structure. The incoming vesicles brings things in, but the Golgi apparatus forms the lipids, and it is carried out by the outgoing vesicles. It helps in the formation of middle lamellae. Okay, it is secretory in nature. Secretory means it secretes different kind of enzymes and hormones. It helps in melanin synthesis. Melanin is a chemical which responds to the color of the skin. It causes the color of the skin or the color of the cell. It's a chemical for the response to sunlight and light. Now, lipids and proteins which are synthesized in the endoplasmic reticulum, they are made there but are packed at the Golgi complex in the vesicles. So, lipids and proteins made by endoplasmic reticulum are made into a sandwich type of thing where at the Golgi complex, and this lipoprotein layer is a site for assembly for new membranes. So plasma membrane is made up of lipoproteins. The lipoproteins are generated where? In the endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum makes the lipids, the smooth, and even the Golgi apparatus make the lipids. The ribosome makes the proteins. Now they are carried by the vesicles to the Golgi apparatus, where the Golgi apparatus packs them together and makes a lipoprotein layer for the plasma membrane. So I am going to end the lecture over here. Go through the lecture one more time and understand the cytoplasm. Yes, and the components inside the cytoplasm. So basically the cell has got three things only: an outer plasma membrane, a nucleus inside, and the cytoplasm. So in a simple microscope you can only see these three things. But using a very powerful microscope you can see the organelles inside the cytoplasm, and slowly we are going to see how each organelle is very important for the functioning of the cell. So today we have done only two of them, that is the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus. In the next lecture, we will go on with all the remaining cell components. But revise this one more time before moving to the next lecture, because it is all in a connected form, so you should know each one of them in detail. Okay, I end here for today. Thank you.